Rarely will you find a franchise with the type of evolution that the digital monster had. From 4cm keychains to tear-jerking action-adventure films, the Pocket Monsters don't really compare. The difference between all these trainable monsters are really night and day. One group had 25 years of success in the West, and the other group didn't. Digimon may not be in the forefront of popular monster media like Pokemon or Godzilla, but believe it or not, it's still going strong. We already know that we can raise a dog, a cat, a guinea pig, but what if we want something a little more exciting, like maybe a floating set of keys? Monsters that you could control has always been a fascinating concept that always worked well for selling merchandise to kids. Franchises like Monster Rancher, Neopets, and Pocket Monsters all tap into our youthful imagination, making you believe that you can hunt, train, and even be friends with your own monsters. It all stems from simple childhood memories your grandpa had, like bug catching, rock collecting, trading baseball cards, and staying outside all day, traveling city to city, having a full-fledged adventure, even though you're only 10 years old. But as far as hatching and raising monsters, not just as pets, but as bodyguards and companions, we can once again thank the Japanese, who not only created the whole monster collection craze, they evolved it over time. No other monster companion franchise really showcases a lifetime of evolution quite like Digimon does. If you looked at it now, you'd probably notice that it just got through airing 68 episodes of a new anime called Ghost Game, and that it just had a new movie come out in October after already having an RPG game come out for next-gen consoles. But hey, let's digivolve back to how this all started. Remember the digital pet craze of the late 90s? Japanese toy company Bandai started this international phenomenon with the Tamagotchi pet in 1996. Shaped like an egg, you would hatch a digital creature and raise it like a pet until it died or ran away from you, or you just wanted a new pet. So you'd start a new game, or you'd buy a new Tamagotchi altogether. But this was just the female-oriented version of what would become known as the digital monster. A year after Tamagotchi, the same toy company would create Digimon through virtual pet toys. The pet you could not only play with, but train to fight. After training them to level up and become stronger, you could connect the Digimon to another Digimon and battle. This, as you could imagine, was very popular in schools, to the point where some had to ban kids from playing with them. Just like Tamagotchi, the Digimon's design themselves would start to receive inspiration from American comic books, something that was starting to gain popularity in Japan. The OG Digimon designer, Kenji Watanabe, would want the monsters to look cooler as they got stronger. If you looked at Bandai's history, you'd notice that they always were big on looking cool in virtual fighter type RPG games aimed at boys. They even had this game that came out in 1994 about a little yellow dinosaur named Gon who would battle other animals. And while Gon isn't mentioned as being some kind of inspiration for the leading Digimon, Agumon, I'm starting to think that it was. New animations and designs would all come out around the same time from 1999 to 2000. And Digimon became this fresh new alternative to what Pokemon was. A franchise that had a very similar rise in popularity a few years before Digimon did. But in the late 90s, Digimon was blowing up. In May 2000, the Digimon animated series had surpassed the Pokemon one in ratings. I probably attributed to that. When I first saw the promo for Digimon back in '99, I was like, wow, what's that? Wow. That looks super interesting. I'm gonna start watching that. And I don't care if Pokemon's on at the same time. I'm gonna watch this new thing and see what that's all about. Some thought that Digimon, unaware of the 1997 toy, was nothing more than a Pokemon ripoff. There were haters of the series, and then there were older kids who wanted to migrate from Pokemon to Digimon because it seemed more mature. There was some clear competition as the new Digimon anime came out, along with a new trading card game and a new video game for the PlayStation, all based on the Fighting Virtual Pet, which only a couple years prior was just a Tamagotchi spinoff you could fit in the palm of your hand. With the first ever Digimon video game, Digimon World, Bandai specifically wanted to compete with Nintendo's Pokemon games, which at the time were only the Red and Blue games. It was a great contrast because while Pokemon Red and Blue were completely 2D, primarily black and white, and available only for the Game Boy, Digimon was in color and in 3D for the PlayStation. Bandai would quickly put out a sequel to this in 2000, keeping up with the production of the Digimon anime, which was also starting its second season. By now, there was 279 Digimon, and Bandai was probably feeling really good. They probably thought that they were winning the big virtual monster war. But then, right at the end of 2000, Nintendo dropped, arguably, their best Pokemon games, Gold and Silver, bringing up the Pokemon count to 251 monsters and starting a new anime season themselves. So after the numbers Gold and Silver produced by 2001, Bandai probably decided to just mind its own business. During the come up of Digimon, articles were made and the fans of trading cards and gaming would help to stir up the idea that Digimon was out there to dethrone Pokemon and maybe even replace it. But the digital monsters and the pocket monsters were really like two sides of the same coin. They were doing the same things at the same time with their franchise, complementing their new generation of monsters with a new season on TV. There was Digimon World 3, 4, and a digital version of their card game. And of course, they had movies coming out at the same time as well. But those first two movies were pretty memorable on both sides. I'd say that there was definitely a downshift in the effort on Bandai's part after Pokemon's Gold and Silver era. But despite whoever ended up coming in second place, both of these franchises have already evolved well past their virtual pet / Game Boy days. What can't be denied though is how good Digimon is at being Digimon. It's actually so different from Pokemon that it really can't be compared like that. It's actually apples to oranges. With each iteration of its animation projects, Digimon stayed true to the original designs and concepts of the franchise, like with the Digivices. The Digivices were always based on the original digital monster toys in real life. On TV, the kids would basically use them the same way they'd be used in real life, leveling up and interacting with their personal Digimon. And just like Digimon, the Digivices themselves would evolve and have a different look in each season. The toys themselves were even updated to look more like Digivices. In a lot of ways, Digimon and the whole digital world was more deeper than Pokemon was. There were more characters involved. And because the Digimon could actually talk, they became more like regular people. And the bonds made with their humans felt more real. Obviously, there were a lot more emotional moments. The Digimon anime wasn't afraid to get sad or dark. There are Digimon who have actually died. There were realistic family dynamics, missing parents, villains who were actually pretty evil, and the main Digimon cast actually grew up with us. They came back a little older in season 2. And then 3 or so years after that, they come back with their own movie series as young adults. There's 6 parts of this that aired between 2015 and 2020. More on that later. Digimon played better as an action anime and not just a goofy Saturday morning cartoon for kids. The transformation sequences are amazing, and there's actual character development. Comparing the Digimon series to the Pokemon series actually feels wrong at this point, because while the Digi-destined were all growing up with each other, what was Pokemon doing? The same thing it was doing 20 years ago? Ash Ketchum should be like 36 years old. He's still 10. In fact, he looks more like a 10-year-old now than he did 20 years ago. The designs of the monsters are another thing that can't be compared between franchises, because while one evolves by basically just growing, another evolves by basically like Darwin monkey theory, turning from an animal into a whole humanoid being with a funny looking costume. When Digimon evolve, they really evolve. And it goes back to what the original designer, Kenji Watanabe, wanted. He was inspired by American comic book heroes and wanted the evolutions to be Marvel comic book level cool. So this is why a Digimon could go from cute little animal walking on 2 legs to a gladiator angel hybrid with 6-pack abs wearing a fur coat. The Digimon designs are really something, and they actually make Pokemon designs look lazy. And no matter how complex the Digimon's next evolution is, they all start out as that little blob you see when you first turned on your digital monster toy in 1997. Bandai also started publishing trading cards where they would first display Watanabe's new designs. Just a year after Pokemon started their trading card game, this was probably the point where Bandai thought that they could compete with it. And as a way to make the most out of the collectible monster craze, Digimon would essentially be in the progress of evolving their own franchise from the cute little blob of the virtual pet to the trading card game, and then to video games, TV, and film. But Digimon, as they've proven with the Digimon Adventure Tri series, has shown to actually have matured. Because Digimon was able to have more of a narration and character growth, it became more than just a role-playing game, card game, cartoon/toy. Ever since the mid-2000s, the Digimon World series has stayed true to its virtual pet origins by coming out for mainly portable devices. There were Digimon World games for the DS, PSP, and 3DS. And just recently, 2023, they've released a port for the Switch for Digimon World Next Order, a game they had made for the PSP Vita. Now, Vita didn't do too well in sales, but I see what Bandai was trying to do. Ever since mobile gaming started being a thing around 2011, they've had Digimon games you could download for your phone, mostly just being gacha games though. But Digimon as a franchise has been evolving with technology, living up to the whole digital monster concept every chance that it's been getting. Now, most of these game releases, sadly, have been only exclusive to Japan. The whole franchise, actually. Instead of being pushed into the West, struggling to keep up with Pokemon, it seems that around 2010, Bandai would start focusing Digimon on their own market. There was a whole mini project made in 2016 that featured a game, anime, and manga about kids in the future using their smartphones as their Digivice, Digimon App Monsters. Digital monsters can't get any more digital than that, can they? Just download them on your phone? Well, despite dialing back their franchise reach in the early 2010s, with App Monsters coming out around the time Digimon Adventure Tri had started, it seems that Digimon had made a comeback of sorts. A comeback full of nostalgia, as this new show would feature the original kids as adults. It looks like Bandai has taken Digimon and leaned into what really made it stand out: the storytelling, the friendships, and the evolutions. After the 6-part All Growed Up series, there would be a turning point in 2020 where, for one, a reboot of the original series would come out. Yes, just in time for that late 2010s nostalgic reboot era that I keep bringing up in all my videos. And 2, before the reboot, they released one last movie with the original Digimon group as they passed the torch to the second Digimon group. I'm a bit saddened because I missed out on this reunion originally and did not know about the reboot series before I started the video. Bandai, who 20 years ago was giving us all this Digimon content, now seems to be hiding it all from us. I'm just a few months late from the first movie in this new film series that seems to be doing with the second season characters what they did with the first season ones. Digimon Adventure 2: The Beginning. On the regular TV show front, they've actually started a brand new series which aired from 2021 to 2023 called Digimon Ghost Game. While being late to the party, it looks like the franchise has made a shift in the right direction. And while doing all this animation-wise, they've started to dip back into the Western market for their 2016 Digimon World game. So more than ever, Digimon has been proving to be nothing to compare Pokemon to, especially animation-wise. The trading card game was still going strong in Japan as well, and apparently there was a decent market for the card game in the West, because since the 2020 TV show reboot, there's been a new set of cards available. Bandai might have had a chip on their shoulders for a while about releasing any new Digimon content internationally, but a reason they've started kinda doing it again lately is probably because the 25th anniversary is coming up. Here in 2024, it would be 25 years since the Digimon franchise would expand to video games and TV, evolving the whole virtual pet trend, and from there they would evolve into movies. At some point, Digimon would humble themselves and stick in their own market, evolving even further to come to terms with the fact that time flies. And at some point after that, it evolves to have the courage to slowly get back out there into the world. Inside and out, Digimon has been a giant metaphor for growing up. Growing from a tiny blob on a toy the size of an egg to a feature film that makes viewers want to cry. Digimon, while physically younger than Pokemon, has mentally outgrown Pokemon. Both of these franchises continue to inspire new games and feed our imagination and curiosity of what it would be like to raise your own small army of monsters. Now, if you learned something about Digimon like I did, like and subscribe to Retro Sick for more random nostalgia and interesting coincidences surrounding said nostalgia, and I will see ya next time.